another episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. This episode's a little different than probably you're used to. Today I'm hanging out. Well, this is basically later that night. If you listen to the last episode with AJ, I did that one early afternoon, and then later that night I was hanging out with some friends, my buddy Kevin, my buddy Chris. Kevin's been on episode 4 a long time ago, obviously because it's episode 4, and 3 or 4 now, I can't remember. And Chris has been on a few times. I know most recently he's been on with John Brackett to talk about the history of the automotive and alternative energy and all that stuff. John Brackett was an automotive engineer from the movie Pump, and we talked about that documentary and a bunch of other stuff. So really interesting conversation. If you haven't checked it out, please do. Just hanging out, and quite commonly I'll have friends over. We'll sit in the backyard. We'll have some cigars, have some whiskey. I have I collect a lot of whiskey, so I always have something interesting to try, and my buddies are always bringing stuff over. So a lot of times we sit in the back and we're talking or whatnot. And just a couple weeks ago, we were doing that and we're talking. I'm like, this is kind of an interesting conversation. And it was actually with a group of different friends. But I was thinking to myself, I'm like, why don't I record this? And a while ago, I got a podcast recording app for my phone, and I've been meaning to use it. But I'm like, you know what? Every time I'm out with my friends and stuff, if I'm at a place where it's kind of loud, or I don't want to really put any pressure on my buddies to tell them, hey, I'm going to record this, what's supposed to be a casual, more personal conversation that we're having. And I don't know, I guess I just don't want to ruin the vibe and make people feel like I'm constantly trying to record myself and my friends just for my own personal reasons of having something to release. But sometimes these conversations are lost forever. You forget what you talked about, or they're just really good conversations you think people might enjoy. And because my show is basically a casual conversation that is just, or at least I try to capture that, I think it just makes sense that sometimes when I have these little hangouts, if I have the opportunity to, and it's not too loud, and I'm somewhere where it's kind of quiet, like in my backyard, just hanging out on the patio, then why not record the conversation? And if it's worth releasing, then I release it. And so this is my first attempt to do that. I'm hanging out with Chris and Kevin. We're having a couple of drinks. I just came back from dinner with some family, and my wife, the kids, and some family. So I'm already, been drinking a little bit. The guys have been hanging out that afternoon too. It's what was yesterday? The 17th, September 17th, and so I'm sure everybody's tipsy a little bit. I haven't listened to this podcast back completely yet. I've just listened to it to try to get the quality as good as possible. But I'm assuming that it's probably gets pretty silly if I remember correctly. But hopefully you guys will take everything we say with a grain of salt. Obviously, like when you're hanging out with your buddies, are sarcastic. Sometimes you get in more interesting conversations, more serious conversations, and then sometimes you bullshit and just say things you don't really mean and joke around and whatnot. So hopefully you guys understand that's kind of what we're doing, casual conversations. We talk about, just typical things that we talk about on the show, like when I have Dave on. And we also talk about some personal life experiences and stuff. So hopefully you guys find some parts funny. You find some parts silly, but overall, hopefully you find it at least entertaining and worth listening to. So let me know what you think of the quality. If you think this, I think I'm going to continue doing this, but I'd still like to have your feedback and see what you guys think. Next time I have friends over, I'll have different friends over and have different perspectives and different people with different backgrounds talking. So hopefully it'll be fun. And Kevin suggested calling this Backyard Philosophy, so maybe I'll do that. I'll call these episodes Backyard Philosophy until I come up with a better name, because I liked it a lot better last night when I was drinking. Today I'm like, it's all right. But so enjoy the show, guys. Let me know if the quality's worth listening to, or good enough where it's worth listening to and releasing. And it was recorded on a podcast recording app that I had on my phone, so I listened to it back and it sounded all right. You're gonna hear some ice and some animals and whatnot in the background. Unfortunately, I just don't know how to remove all that stuff, or honestly, I just don't think it's worth going into every little second of the podcast and releasing and cutting out like little clicks of the glass and stuff like that. So, but anyways, I'll keep this intro short. Enjoy the silliness. We definitely get silly, and hopefully you don't take anything we say too seriously. And hopefully some of our personal stories are of some comfort to you guys if you guys have been through similar things. So thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. this is just us in the backyard talking. I don't know if I'm going to release this or not, but we sometimes have some good conversations over some whiskey and cigars. So I'm just going to hit record, and you're going to hear me, my buddy Kevin talk, and Chris, who've been on a couple episodes. Kevin's a flash from the past. I think you're on episode, 3, 4?
Yeah,
I don't know, something like that. You called me an asshole, I remember that.
Yeah, that's you're still one of the most requested fans. I've been guessing to back on. And
you're a liar.
You're still an asshole.
And you're just going to hear us bullshit, so we'll see what happens. I don't even know how to take this out of my phone and put it in my computer, but I'm sure it's pretty easy. I figured it out. That's one thing I'm pretty good with, is software. I've learned, and not just that.
Pop it in the old Googler.
Yeah, well, I use Google for everything. But what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, like referees talking about Brian Toohey and like just writing books on sports corruption. He was a really interesting guest because he was the only, like, after I found out about his work, I looked up like other people that are looking into this. Literally nobody else has looked into this. It's almost like everybody is so invested in sports that nobody wants to believe. Like, it's almost like if you're a fan of WWE, why would you want to investigate that it's fake? Because it's like, well, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to.
I love The Undertaker.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Because who wants to believe that their team fucking threw something
exactly.
or cheated or
and it's like somebody telling you Santa Claus isn't real. It's like, it's
what?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
But the Easter Bunny is, right?
It's one of those things where, like, you don't want to believe somebody's heart's gonna be broken. Countdown 5. The Easter Bunny is not real.
My life is about to be shattered.
I hate you.
But I think that's a big part of it. But I also think that the thing about sports too is because, and you know, you were slowly getting into the conversation about happiness. Like, I think the big thing is that it helps people get by. Like, one thing, like, with, you know, you do construction on the weekends, and imagine doing that. And you actually, you know, you did it full time before you started.
Yep.
Before you started doing engineering, right?
Yeah.
And it sucked. And it sucked. And because it sucked, it's one of those things where I think that it helps people. You don't see more hardcore sports fans than construction workers. They all, like, can't wait to go, like, the Patriots game on weekends. Yeah, like, everybody has a Patriots sticker on their truck or Patriots sticker.
I'll tell you, I find that in the office a lot, though, too.
That transcends everything.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe
everywhere.
But there's some, like, ladies that I work with that are so hardcore, like, Patriots fans. They're ridiculous. They're like bigger fans than the guys.
Now,
fucking crazy.
But the thing is, I tend to believe that I think that people, like, the reason why sports are so popular, especially football in America, the biggest sport in America, I think a lot of it fits into our lifestyle. Like, we're super busy during the week. We live these fast-paced lives where we're constantly going to work and then taking care of the kids and taking care of, you know, the lawn work or whatever, our yard work. I mean, so, like, because of that, all I have to do is reserve one day out of the week, Sunday, and I get to watch all the football I want. Like, I know people,
well, like, now you got Monday and Thursday too.
Yeah, Thursday, but, like,
totally throw away all your plans. And
but the thing is, like, Gina, my wife's brother, he literally will sit there. My brother-in-law will sit there on Sundays and watch football all day. That's his thing.
That's what I did last weekend.
Yeah,
I could never do that.
I did that exactly. He did that exact thing.
And
I loved it.
And the thing is that people do that, like, all day Sunday, you know. And how much of that is because they're unhappy with their
cleaning?
Like, I think it's a lack of. I think the way society's been built, like, we don't strive to push people into following their passions and doing things that make them happy. So then we work jobs we hate, we buy things that temporarily make us happy, and then we need sports and other shit to kind of be our getaway mentally from the shitty lives we live, you know? And it just seems like this roller coaster.
I just can't for some reason, I can't sit around and just, like, watch a show. Today I went to a car show with my Plymouth, and I was there for, like, a few hours.
You know there's one in Ludlow, a little one, right?
Yeah,
right
yeah. I went to the one in
about?
Western New England, because it was, like, supporting the Society of Automotive Engineers, so it was, like, a $10 donation to enter. But while I was sitting there, I was like, this is fun, but at the same time, I felt like I should have been doing something.
Like, you weren't being productive?
Yeah, I wasn't being productive, and it actually was bothering me a little, and then I was bullshitting with some, like, old guys about cars and this and that, and, like, building stuff, and I was like, okay.
My bad. I'm going to have to edit that out.
At first, I was, like, I was getting, like, anxious that I wasn't doing something. It's like, damn, I should really be doing something. What am I doing? It's fucking Saturday. I'm always like busy doing something.
Yeah.
You are the opposite of me.
Yeah, I can't sit around.
See,
still.
Gina's like that. Gina,
Do nothing.
Gina.
I will also think I should be doing something though, but I just won't.
Yeah, see, that's how Gina will never feel guilty about what she eats, what she's not doing, like whatever. But then she'll complain about stuff like, oh, I wish I was doing this, or I wish I got that done, or I wish I didn't eat this. And I'm like, you're a fucking procrastinator, and you're letting, resistance. Like this guy, I forget what the book. The book's called. The book will come to me eventually. And it's about.
I love that book.
It'll come to me eventually? Great.
It'll come to me eventually is not the title.
All right.
The War of Art. That's what it is. The War of Art, because it's about people trying to be creative, and then writers, painters,
I've read
musicians.
The Art of War.
Yeah, but this is obviously a reverse on that. But
That's clever.
It is, and because the title tells you what the book's about. The book's about is it Steven Pinker? No, it's not Steven Pinker. Who the hell is Steven Pinker? Why? That's an author, but I can't remember what he wrote. But anyways, it's about like all these things, these hurdles we constantly have in our lives that get in the way of doing things we want to pursue, and we constantly use them to justify why we're not getting shit done, instead of just doing it, instead of just being like, you know what, I'm just gonna fucking do it. I'm not gonna use this as an excuse, like, oh, today I won't do it because of blah blah. Tomorrow I won't, and then it becomes this downward spiral of never getting anything done. Like I remember when I started doing the podcast, and like soon after, and then I had Ricardo. Like it was soon after I had Ricardo. I remember Eric, my buddy Eric.
Yeah,
he was. I believe it was after I had Ricardo. He's like, dude, I don't even have time to cut the grass. How the fuck do you find time to do your podcast, do some music stuff, do construction, play back? I'm like, because if I don't stay,
you just gotta make time.
Well, one, make time, but two, I'm like you, Chris. I'm like, if I don't, if I say your name out loud more often than I usually do, it's because I know this is being recorded, and just so people know who I'm talking to. But I'm like you. I feel guilty.
I like it when you say my name.
Say my name.
I like it when you say my name.
Nobody is.
And that is ice, guys. If you're wondering what that noise is. And we're having whiskey and
Are you
cigars.
singing Beyonce?
But some people were drinking. We're drinking some Elijah Craig. We've never had this before. A small batch, aged 12 years. It's a bourbon. Yeah, it's a bourbon, 94 proof. And then we're having some
This is
Knob Creek.
120 proof. I didn't.
And we're
Jesus Christ.
and we're having some Knob
This might go
Creek.
south quickly.
I'm gonna have one of these.
Single barrel. Oh, this is this is the reserve. Yeah, small batch, aged 9 years.
I didn't
So
even see that.
the Knob Creek. Yeah, because the reason why it's called Knob Creek, because you will be searching for the knob or end up in a creek when you're done drinking.
Somebody's gonna call me a knob by the end of the
And but what the fuck was I just talking about?
Not sitting around.
Oh yeah. So, but I do the same thing with dieting. Like I feel guilty when I eat like shit, and I didn't deserve. Like if I played basketball and I went to the
Should
gym.
we be sitting around right now? Like we should maybe we'll go for a walk.
Guys, let's go for a walk.
A brisk walk in the park.
Yes, we'll power walk.
Yeah, we didn't earn these cigars and whiskey. Let's go for a quick jog, guys.
No,
Why is Ricky setting up 3 ellipticals? I can't talk tonight, man.
Ellipticals.
I feel like I did a podcast earlier. I've been socializing all day at dinner, and now my brain's like slowing down. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I have to earn my relaxation time. Like I have to earn my like. If I have a long day at work, I come home, write some emails for work, write some emails for my podcast, do something where I'm like, you know what, I got some shit done today, I earned this cigar and drink or whatever, then, then I'm okay with it. But you're right, like, if I don't do anything to earn it, like, I can't go day after day of accomplishing nothing and then feeling like, oh, I earned this, and don't get me wrong, like, this idea of like, oh, we have to earn this, this shit, I mean, it is kind of ridiculous, but it's a great way of like, it's one of those times where guilt actually becomes your friend because it becomes your best motivator. Like you feel guilty, so it forces. Like you were saying, you're at a car show, you felt like, oh, I should have been doing something. There's nothing wrong. I mean, you're a pretty productive dude, anyways. So like, there's nothing wrong every once in a while, like saying, hey, you know what? Today I'm gonna be lazy. I'm gonna go to a car show, hang out, blah blah blah.
But then I feel bad. I'm like, fuck, I need to go like do something, work on something. I'm not being myself.
I feel bad because I don't think that.
Kevin relates with the majority of the population.
I just like working on stuff. I don't like going to work, but I enjoy working on
I wish I
stuff.
knew how to work on stuff.
Well, you know what it is?
Until you start, you never learn. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is I think that there's something to enjoying like that part of your brain that you don't really get to use that often in everyday life,
Yeah,
like
which is
problem solving and being creative. I mean, there's a lot of creativity and stuff that goes into what you're doing. You know, when you're working on your
My
cars.
problem is like at work we problem solve, but it's never solving problems I really care about.
Yeah,
It's always just like work problems, and I'm like, I don't really care that much. But I have to because I'm getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
And then when I leave work, I'm like, even at work, I'll constantly be thinking about things I need to do and like thinking about how to solve them. I'll like wake up thinking about it. But yeah, keeps me going.
nice thing.
my
This
mind
thing's
sharp.
actually picking us all up, which is pretty cool.
How can you tell?
Because you can see the
Red
things. The red lines is probably when I was too loud, when I was too close.
You were Kevin voice.
Yeah, that's when every time there's a red line is when Kevin's talking.
Oh, that's a pretty good spike.
But yeah, I mean, there's something about that. There's something about being productive, and I mean, I think guilt can be a good thing. It can be a friend. It can be this is everybody's on their fucking phones.
I gotta text my fiance in China.
Dude, she won't get it till tomorrow, anyways, right? Is that
Well,
She can't see it. She's squinting
I gotta
too much.
FedEx has to carry
First of
the
all,
text.
how many emojis do you have to use to get the message across? Because
You know she only understands
That's her.
symbols.
She
Isn't
sent the
sim-
emoji.
Isn't symbols all? I mean, isn't Chinese all symbols?
Well, it comes out in Braille on her phone. The Chinese have amazing shit.
That's pretty smart.
Communist braille.
Now, how did she be like? How did she become one of the few girls that survived? Because I mean, you look at it. Yeah, because
That survived me?
No, survived. No, survived the fact that like at one time they're basically having abortions that they had girls because they knew guys were
Because her
more
parents were
available.
awesome and they had one girl and they said, well, I guess we're stuck with this one.
Did-
And they
did-
didn't.
did
They
she come
chose
from-
to
did
not
she come
throw
from
her.
money?
They chose to not throw her in the garbage can. I guess I don't know.
Did they come for money or something?
No, they actually worked for the government in some sense.
Well, there you go.
So it's communist.
Yeah, they were communists.
So she's
oh my
used,
god,
she's using it to be
she's not
a spy.
communist though. She's not communist though.
Sure, she isn't.
No, because she never signed the party shit, which is good. 'cause
Oh, you have to sign a
wouldn't be
paper
able
to-
to. I wouldn't be able to import her.
You commie kinko. Pinko.
I mean, it's funny how like that whole communist thing, but yet like we have no problem trading with them.
And we shouldn't.
No, I agree. I
we
think
need to be closer to that country. There's billions of them.
well,
We
that,
should be friends.
that and the fact that like just because of the way they decide to run their country, like should have no effect on us and should have no, it shouldn't affect if we do trade with them or not. Like the same. I mean, people can make. I've made the argument that people can look at capitalism and saying, okay, America has some of the worst income equality ever. You have some of the worst addiction to pills and pharmaceuticals and heroin addicts, and because people are super unhappy. Well, capitalism hasn't turned out too well for America. What if another country says, you know what, we think that the way you're running your country is wrong, and we should get involved, and we should force you guys to change. Like that's basically what we say to communist or socialist countries, and I don't think that's really fair.
I agree.
Well, Portugal was a socialist country when Salazar took over.
Yeah. And he was in power for like 40 years or something.
Yeah, and they had the revolution, the what do they call it, the Carnation Revolution or something like that. Yeah, and it was like the 25th of April or something like that.
Oh, 25th.
What is it? Does that sound right?
I thought that was when the war in Angola stopped.
No, I think that's when Salazar, when the revolution happened, and it was like a perfect example of a peaceful revolution because it was the first time. I don't know if it was the first time, but one of the few times that they basically got somebody to step down, and it was a military coup. Basically, the military turned on the government and
really?
or was it? Now I'm talking out of my ass. I don't fucking remember. It's been, you know what happens? I researched shit so long ago, and now I'm like, since then I've researched so many other shit, and I can't recall what the fuck I was like, all the details now. But basically, it was a peaceful revolution. They got.
You should just intermingle all the information.
That's what we could
and see what comes out.
Yeah. Well, fuck. Anybody who's
That'd be
listening can
fantastic.
Google this shit. But yeah,
Just cross everything.
But they had a peaceful revolution. I remember having an argument with somebody about like, oh, something like that would never happen in America, a revolution like we see in like the middle. I'm like
spiciness.
I'm like, wait, is it really spicy?
Yeah.
The Knob
Which
Creek?
one's it? The Nom Creek?
I don't know if I like it that much.
Yeah, you should chug it.
It's like eating big. It's like drinking big red gum.
It's
Really? That's spicy?
120 proof.
I don't know.
It's actually
pretty
a good
spicy.
spice. I think it's got some good complexities to it. I like
I
it.
think I need my ice to melt.
I'm not. You know what's funny? I'm not a big fan of
It
spicy.
is neither
anything.
oaky or buttery.
You don't like spicy?
No, I like spicy food, but I'm saying when it comes down to cigars or alcohol, I'm
I
not.
don't like spicy cigars. It feels like when you're smoking it, it's like burning your mouth at the same
Yeah.
time.
I've had a
It's weird
spicy cigar
sensation.
that's done right though. It's like sometimes they're just like, fucking really good.
Yeah, well, obviously it's all preference, but
Yeah.
for some reason, same thing with like wines. I've had spicy wines, and it's a big turn off to me because I can't taste
They have
the
spicy
wine.
wine?
Yeah, like they'll add like exotic spices
That's chill.
to give it flavor and shit, and I just can't. For some reason, it just I don't. I feel like it takes away from the wine. It takes away from. Like you don't taste the grapes, you don't taste the wine. You take.
Oh, this
you
guy I talked to
motherfuckers are on the-
today, he was,
Are you? You better be talking to your freaking Asian wife.
I am.
Okay,
this guy I met today at the
Hey,
car show, he
yeah.
Makes wine, but he's
What-
part of
what
like a club.
nationality is
He's like part Italian, like a whole bunch of different stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
like German, tons of stuff. He makes wine. He's part of a wine club, and they were doing like a wine tasting. So it's one guy who basically puts it on and has all the stuff to make it, and then they'll just like trade back and forth. Like one guy will make like a certain amount of gallons of like Malbec, somebody else will make a different kind of wine, and then they
Yeah, a
just,
lot of people
have
do
wine
that.
testing, like trade of bottles and whatever.
They'll all
else. I'm
pitch
like-
in, right? They'll
I'm
all
like,
pitch
oh,
in. and-
Ricky would like that. And it's like, yeah, so tonight we're just gonna taste each other's wine and drink. And
It sounds like a gay party.
It does.
Or you can get together, wink, wink, and taste each other's wine.
I'm like, I don't know about this guy.
Just put your mouth up against my keg.
good thing he's all the way in New York and I didn't get
in your
invited.
Get all the flavors.
But that's actually quite common. Guys will get together because
Which is kind of cool.
the whole
I
like
understand
for
it.
example like for me to make
like
wine.
eat Italian food, so
Yeah.
like whatever.
It's like-
Italians eat spicy meatballs. I don't know.
Yeah. What's that?
I have no idea what Italians.
They eat
Pasta and spicy
no, they
meatballs?
eat prosciutto. Like we call it presunto. They
Yeah,
call it
yeah.
prosciutto. It's the same
Yeah,
thing.
It's
That's
called
just
prosciutto.
yeah. It's just the ham and the salty ham.
How did you say? No,
Well, in
I'm
Portuguese
kidding, I'm kidding.
it's presunto. He was kidding, guys. That was a joke.
I do that. I have to tell them that it's a joke, so they know that it's funny.
No, don't worry. I'll cut it in, and I'll be like, guys, brace yourself. Kevin's about to tell a joke, and then I'll go back to the
Do you have
podcast.
that laugh track that we were talking about?
I should have background laughing, right?
Yes.
So, like, just even things that aren't
Like
punchlines. Just have,
cheers.
This was
It
filmed
works so
in front of
good
a
now.
live studio audience. There should be like a bunch of clapping. Live studio audience.
That was-
filled
isn't
with
that norm?
ostriches.
Yeah, how weird is that? Like working on a sitcom, and then knowing that like people are just filling in empty space with like laughter and clapping.
I don't know, but it soothes me somehow.
I
Really?
like that show. Cheers.
Loved it. Cheers is my favorite show of all time.
Guys, stop taking it personally. I'm not talking about church. I'm just talking about in general.
Don't
Like,
talk about
they
Cheers
did-
that way, you fucker.
They where everybody knows your name.
Bum,
Yep.
bum, bum, bum. And they're always
I also
glad
liked
you
who's.
came.
I also liked Who's the Boss.
What the
Oh my
Tony
god,
Danza?
I hated that show.
Tony. Oh, I remember Tony Danza.
Come on,
You know what?
fucking
Because the
racist
chicken, it
kid.
was hideous.
His chicken?
Hideous. The chicken. The wife.
Oh, the old lady.
Why do you call it the
mother.
chicken?
The chick in it.
Oh, the chicken.
The chicken
What
was
the
awful.
fuck? I do not remember the show now. Like,
The fried chicken they made was terrible. Tony was so bad at cleaning.
Yeah, not the daughter.
The
she grew up
chicken.
behind. Not Alyssa Milano.
It sounds like that Corey story.
But the mother.
How did it end with
Oh my
And he
god.
shot the chicken.
Yeah.
Now you have to
thought
explain Corey.
I thought Corey was dead. I
thought-
hadn't seen him for like a
Yeah.
week.
Corey's an autistic friend of ours.
And then he just fucking magically appeared with a bunch of rambling that I had no idea what he was talking about.
He walks
He was so
everywhere.
excited. He slept in bed with a girl, and he was so excited about it. He didn't do anything with her, obviously, but he was like, I slept with a girl. I'm like, all right, Corey. When you say you slept with a girl, that means you had sex with her. So you can tell people
Know
you
the
slept
street slang,
in
yeah.
the same bed as the chick, but just don't tell anybody that because it sounds really lame because you didn't actually do
Yeah.
anything.
Don't get excited about sleeping. Yeah. Usually, for most guys,
But he
when your
hasn't-
night ends up with just cuddling with a girl, that's
You're
not a
like, God
success.
damn it.
That's not a success. With him, it's like, oh, I did it.
Success.
No, guys, am I gonna have to get the morning after pill for it?
He's like,
How
I
does this work?
accidentally touched her boob.
Yes, you should take the morning after.
You should take it, Corey. You should take the morning after pill because God forbid if you ever reproduce. I love him. I know. Well, how old is he?
21.
And mentally, how old is he?
12?
7, maybe.
7, yeah.
With certain things, he's like 12. Other things, he could actually be 20.
See, now I don't know if somebody who's that. How do I politically?
But he's not even
correctly
autistic,
say?
though.
No, he's not. I'm just kidding. He's retarded, and
yeah, and I feel bad for the kid.
I'm so offended.
His stupid drug addict mother that fucked him all up.
Dude, that's usually
Really?
the case, man.
Yeah,
That's
she
the story?
was doing like heroin and crap.
Oh
and
my god, I
screwed
did
him
not
up.
know that.
I'm sure there's many more cases of that than people like to believe. Like, how many people just like to act like, oh, these are just birth defects. How many of these birth defects are influenced by fucking bad decisions the parents made?
Oh man,
Smoking while
and
pregnant,
now the
drinking
kid
while
is,
pregnant.
he's all fucked up. Not as bad as he possibly could have turned out, but like his life is totally turned upside down because of his fucking dumbass mother.
Well, he's never gonna have.
He's never gonna have a normal
He's
life.
never gonna get. I mean, maybe he will, but I mean, I'm assuming he's never gonna have kids, get married, like all those pleasures in life. Have a steady job, drive. I mean, he can't even get his license. Like,
No, he's trying. He got his permit, and now he's doing driving school in Belmont.
jeez.
No more-
Here's the biggest tip: don't talk. Don't talk. Drive and do not talk.
Yeah.
Don't.
No more.
And they said he's
No
doing
more
okay.
walking. No more walking 10 miles to
He's
Walmart
like,
to get
He's
food.
like, she says I'm doing good. And I'm like, oh, that's good.
Do you trust him in the back and behind a wheel?
Oh, fuck no. I was like, you better never drive through Wilbraham. And then he'll tell me, like, oh, I drove past your house today. I'm like, oh my god, good thing I was at work.
Yeah, if I had kids, I'd take them all in, hide them in the garage. When you see that car come down the street, you fucking run.
I'm like, Corey, I'm gonna wrap your car in
You say-
pillows. It's like a bumper.
You scream "stranger danger" as loud as you can, and you scream and you run into the house.
Poor fucking Corey.
It's
so sad
should
that
drive-
somebody fucked up his life like that. He had like no doing
chance.
of it.
No chance.
Now it's
From
it's
the
like one of
start.
those things where like he doesn't know what he's missing out on. You know, which I don't know if that makes it easier.
No, it's
Does he?
sad because he's starting to
figure it
he's
out?
starting
Yeah.
to realize.
Oh,
As he
that
gets older,
sucks.
he's starting to realize how a
He's
lot of his
different than
friends.
everybody?
Yeah, he's starting to see
That's
how
sad.
much more different he is than everybody else. And some days, I don't know if it's like he doesn't take his medicine or something, but he's like severely depressed. Like he talks
Really?
about like,
That
I don't
sucks,
even
man.
know why I'm alive. I should be dead. I'm like, Corey, don't say that shit.
Now hand me that wrench.
Basically, and don't get the wrong one because I'm gonna yell at you.
You idiot! You worthless piece of. I mean, no. There's a reason to live.
No, well, yeah, he'll be like, he'll imitate me. He'll be like, you fucking moron, get out of the way. I'm like, yep, I would say that, Corey. Now get the fuck out of the way.
You know, I know sometimes it's frustrating because every time you're at your garage, and for people who are listening, there's this kid who's slightly slow who lives near Chris's garage, and when he works on his car, he swings by and hangs out. But you really have become his best friend.
I'm like his
friend.
idol.
You're his
He
best
says
he
wants-
has
he
another
says he
friend
wants
that's-
to be like me, and then I'm like, oh my god,
because he
that's
looks up to you
scary.
because you know shit about cars. And,
that
you know,
other weird friend.
he wears construction. I saw him at the
Clothes, yeah.
at the Portuguese festival, the local Portuguese festival.
Did he recognize you?
Holy crap.
Well, I recognize him because he's wearing a fucking bright vest. And I'm like,
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God,
I'm like, what
he
the hell?
wore that?
I'm like, what is there? I'm like, is there like private security? Who the hell?
I
is-
know what you're
then,
talking
And then I'm like, Corey, what's up? And he's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, oh, you walk here? He's like, yeah. I'm like, which is like, I don't know how many miles of a walk, but it's still a hell
Yeah,
of a
it's
walk.
pretty far.
Maybe his
And,
mom makes him wear that so
I
he
picked
doesn't
him up
get run
once.
over.
I tell you.
Yeah,
I
he
picked
told me.
Yeah,
no,
I
he
picked-
told me that you
Yeah.
picked him up.
Yeah, I felt bad because like I see him like,
Yeah.
and I saw him like pretty far away, like still a couple miles away from his house. I'm like, is he walking home? Is that Corey? And then I drove by. I'm like, I don't think it's him. And I'm like, fuck, I gotta turn around because if it is him, and I'm like, I'm gonna feel bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, poor kid walking. I'm driving in a car. It's no more work. I was on my way to the office, which isn't that
Right.
far.
So you got to
from him.
drive like
Yeah,
by his house.
Exactly. And so I picked him up and drove him, and he's super appreciative of it, and it felt nice. I mean, that's
Yeah.
he's
totally harmless.
oh, he is
Such a
harmless, unless he's behind a wheel.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Unless he's got a
I've-
credit card
I've
and
never-
and a 900 number.
Yeah, calling
He doesn't know how to download
sex
podcasts,
numbers.
right?
No, he has no idea.
What is a podcast? Because what he got a bunch of porn or something like that.
Well, yeah, he got like a $1,000 cable bill because he ordered like a whole bunch of porns and he didn't realize they cost more money. And then he also ran up the phone bill because he was calling like those 800 numbers where you can talk to this sexy girl now.
They're 900 numbers.
Or whatever the fuck they are. So yeah,
Did you say 900 numbers?
his mom was so.
Oh, those are premium numbers.
Those are the good ones.
Those are the good ones.
It's hilarious to hear the story.
Poor kid, baby. Like, it's funny because he is 21, but yet sex is still like what like it is to a 15-year-old or like
yeah.
like
he
remember when you were a
cannot
kid
wait.
and like you see like a titty for the first time or like a girl lets you touch her tit, like you instantly like bust a nut. You're like this is the greatest thing ever, man. You know, now it's like if your girl is trying to like sleep with you, you pretend you're sleeping. You're like fake snoring.
Like,
and you're like oh, I don't feel good. I'm sorry,
My
not
stomach
tonight.
hurts. I ate too much. But you ate 5 hours ago. Oh, I'm so full. I think I have diarrhea. Is this turning you off? I hope it is.
Massive diarrhea.
Are you guys quoting my ex-wife?
Oh, before you take off my pants, I have to grab the
That's definitely my ex-wife.
I have to grab the plunger and just unclog the toilet real quick. I'll be right back.
And do other disgusting
Oh shit!
things.
Did I walk in the room with the plunger still in my hand? My bad. I'll go put this back.
I was grabbing the wrong end of the plunger.
Oh crap! Is this chocolate on my hand? Was I eating chocolate? I don't remember eating chocolate today.
And she licks it.
I had a Hershey bar like 4 days ago.
I knew that shit melted in my pocket.
But not
Melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
Dude, isn't it? It's crazy, man. How like when you're that young, it's so exciting. Like it's funny. Like I still like remember those days and like how fucking excited you were to like kiss a girl. To like, it's like once you get older, I don't know, man. You get colder to the whole thing, or you just I guess have more of it where you're just like, But it's just capturing the beginning of meeting somebody. Like it's impossible to capture, but it is the most magical time. Like,
it really is.
It is, man, because it's like you're curious on how to look naked. You don't know how your chemistry is going to be.
The best thing to do is to try to keep that going as long as possible.
Constantly keep fucking other people and keep it going.
That's not what I said.
That's exactly what he said. And I hope your fiancé is listening to this, you two-timing bastard.
You.
No, she only understands emojis.
She will find this.
So let's tell her that you also have a Korean wife that you're trying to import here. And whoever comes first, you're going to marry the other one, you're going to divorce.
winner-
Well, I'm going to make
chicken
them
dinner.
fight each other for me.
Fight for my love.
Yeah.
While you sit on a throne in your boxers, smoking a cigar with your spicy
With
bourbon.
small Mexicans
I have an Asian
fanning you
fight
with
club
large
in my
grape
apartment.
leaves.
Asian Jello Wrestling Fight Club.
YouTube it exists.
Are they also midgets?
I hope so.
But
Cool.
yeah, it's that whole thing, dude. It's so like keeping a relationship, like just, and we've all been there. Like this is my second long-term relationship. I mean, I had my
This is
wife,
your second wife.
my second wife, but and obviously Kevin's been married, and you know you've
I have not.
you've been with.
But I've been.
That wasn't long term.
We've been together for a while.
Well, you're married. How long were you married for?
Not long.
What's not?
I was with her longer than I was married to her.
But you've been together. I mean, marriage is a fucking legal document. I mean, you're still trying to make it work.
No, man.
Well, why do you say it was a joke?
That relationship, that was a joke. My past relationship.
But do you think
We drove past your house though today.
I had my own house. I wanted to see how
Did he cry?
more dilapidated it was.
How many tears came down his eyes?
None. He was like, "Look at that piece of crap." I'm like, "Yeah, that is pretty shitty."
I used to live there. With the maggots,
Kevin,
of
did
course.
it look that bad
The only time-
when you lived there?
The only time a tear comes down my eyes when I think about the dogs that I used to have. I miss them.
I thought you were going to say the dogs that used to lick my balls.
That was
Hey,
only
I thought
when
we
they were
weren't going to
peanut
talk
butter
about
on.
that. That's Don't take my peanut
Yeah, but
butter idea.
so what
Fine.
what happened? Was it a joke because you were too young and you just didn't understand what you're getting yourself
I
into?
didn't think I could get anybody better because I was like
When are you going to get over that feeling, man? You still feel like that, don't you?
no,
I'm kidding.
I don't.
Let it out, Kevin.
I'm awesome. I'm a catch. My mom told me that.
My mom says I'm awesome and I could be the
catch
president
22.
one day.
He told me I could be a firefighter.
No, like I was like
I'm a catch, like one of those Fukushima
I used to be
fish
down
that
on
are all...
myself. I used to be down on myself and didn't think I could get any better, so I just didn't try, you know. But no, I'm like
So you just settled too
I grew
quickly?
out of that. I said way too quickly, and like, oh, this is the one, and it was definitely not the one.
How
I was like
old were-
screaming in
Well,
my
so-
face.
so
Kevin,
this
how
is-
old were you?
When what? When I
When you
met
got
her or when
married.
I got married?
No, when you got married.
Because I met her when I was 22.
Here's the
and she was
question.
18.
You clarified the question, like you're going to answer his and you don't want to answer the wrong question. Then you answer the wrong one anyways.
No, I'm going to make this story worse by telling you that I stayed with her way too long and then married her when
So,
I
wait,
shouldn't
so
have.
you met her at 18, you said?
She was 18. I was 22.
Why are you winking? She was 17? I'm kidding.
Did you bring her across state
She was
lines?
17
But she's
and
Puerto
a
Rican,
week
so
to
they
18,
let's be
something.
honest, at 17 they're married, divorced, have like 18 kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those
Like
horny
a
little
big fat
bastards. So,
So what
and then you
was
got married at what age?
So what was the answer?
Jesus Christ, I gotta think about this.
He's spent so much time blocking this out of his memory now, we're making him...
There's some truth to that.
I don't...
26.
I think we do it.
And, like, she left when I was, like, 28, and then, like...
She left you?
Yeah, she's out of the house. She's like, yeah. So, and then, like...
Until...
She left me with the dogs. I enjoy with the dogs that I love, that I miss.
And then what?
And then like,
she wanted to work
a year
it out?
later, we got divorced.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it took that long, huh?
Well, that's like... Dave, I mean, same thing. It took him... A lot of people are like that. Like,
No,
they're
divorce,
separated.
that's the
and
only
divorced.
thing I credit her for is our divorce was easy. She didn't try to take anything from me.
You didn't have it.
She said,
Yeah.
you can have the house, fucking deal with it, which worked out for me in the long run. And then,
She said you could have the house?
yeah, and then we didn't do any lawyers or mediating. We did the fucking, like...
Wait, did she help pay for the house? Oh, then fuck her. She doesn't deserve the house anyways.
It was in my...
She didn't do you a favor. She did what was fair.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
she helped pay
Like
for
an
some
express.
renovation and shit like that, but, I mean, that, and buy furniture and shit like that, but, you know.
Yeah, but if she was renting,
half that
she'd
shit
have
we
to
had
do
to
that
sell
shit.
off anyway.
Yeah.
Was that in Belchertown?
Yeah.
That house that we...
Yeah. Yeah. Where you didn't know where you were at that time.
Yeah, I didn't know where it was.
Yeah, it's... Dude, that
I
whole...
had GPS Kevin, so it was okay.
The whole divorce thing is tricky, man, because guys usually get fucked out of that. And I understand the whole, like, the whole idea of like, the reason why it's kind of one-sided is because at one time, I get it. Like, women, for the most part, you had the guy who was the breadwinner, and the woman would stay home with the kids, so they sacrificed learning any skills, working for a company where they could work their way up the ladder, all these things to be at home with the kids. Now it's like, now if you leave them, you're fucking throwing them out in the workforce, and they don't have any skills, any work experience, and they've been raising kids their whole life. Yeah, so I get that, but now it's at the point where just like most women work, most women, you know, they for the most part, you know, they're able to
earn as much as
they can earn as much or even more, yeah, and so it just it sucks how many freaking stories you hear about guys who like have to give them half the house and give them, or you know, this and that, and they, you know, and they're the ones who bought the house. Or a lot of times, I mean, how many fucking times do you ever hear when they get divorced and the, you know, the male in the relationship gets the kids in the house? Never. It's always the female gets the house and the
rare.
kids, you know. And
Only if she's like
the
a
woman's
drug
got to be a
addict or
complete
something.
fuck up.
Yeah.
my in-laws were like that. Gina was raised by her father. I remember when I met Gina, and she's like, oh, you know, my parents divorced, and my dad raised me. I'm like, whoa, what? Your dad had you and your brother?
That's surprising.
I'm like,
man.
that never fucking happened.
You know, that explains some stuff in some people's person. No, I'm not talking about Gina. No.
Oh, but it does in a way, because she's very attached
Not
to
to
her dad.
go back again, but like part of my ex-wife's problem was she was fucked up from the get-go because she was raised by her father also and her grandfather and all that, and because her mother like left when she was an infant. I heard stories about the mother like fucking burnt her or cut her or something shit like
that's
that.
ridiculous.
Like something crazy.
Now tell me,
And like
did that stuff make it harder
and
for
her
you
mother
to leave
was
her,
like
right?
her mother was like a fucking like a drug addict and shit, and tried to sell her for money.
And how much?
Like as an infant.
Oh my
and how
God.
much of that stuff had an effect
to
on
her,
you?
To her grandparents actually, but she was like,
So did your grandparents?
no, yeah. She was like, pay me to take the baby. Like she's not.
This baby is such a catch
Yeah.
that you should pay me to take this kid off my hands. But how much of that had effect on? Because I feel like I've dated some girls that were fucked up in the past, and I feel like the more fucked up their family is and their past is, the harder it is for me to break up with them. Because I'm like,
You feel bad.
yeah, you feel bad, and it's like I have to
Yeah.
get out of this because I tried fixing this and I can't, and I'm just gonna go down this spiral, down this road with them. But if I leave, am I a fucking asshole because I'm leaving her hanging? And you know, one thing you learn is they do continue, and their lives do continue, and your life will continue. But in the moment, it's like, was that like, did you get that temptation?
No, mine
of,
was different because like I said, I wasn't like I didn't have the greatest self-esteem. So like at one point in the relationship, she had laughed at me, and then I was like, oh, wah. Like I have to get her back to like
Well,
when in
we've all
retrospect,
done that.
you know, hindsight 2020, I should have been praising the heavens or
She
whatever.
did you a favor.
That she's out of my life.
Finally.
But no, I fucking like tried and like fucking went through like some hard shit and actually got her back, which I fucking regret ever since. You know, and then
you live and you learn.
and it was just like a tumultuous fucking.
But we've all done that. We've like this
fucking boxing match of a relationship.
This is the common story. The common story of almost everybody. Like that first person you really fall in love with. Like they leave you, your self-esteem's so low because you feel like I'm never gonna find somebody who appreciates me or likes me as much as this person because you haven't been in the single world yet. You haven't been on the market. You haven't met other people. Like my biggest thing when I was dating this girl from high school to early 20s, when we broke up, like my whole life revolved around this girl. So now it's like I gotta start my life over, man. Like I don't have any friends to go out to drink with. I have some buddies I played ball with, but not friends I call to go out and have drinks with because I was always with her. So it's like I have friends I play music with, but not friends I go out and drink with. Never mind, I was dating her when I couldn't go out and have a drink. So we broke up when I was 21. I'm like, now I'm only old enough to go to bars now. I can't fucking go out and grab a drink. I have more ice in the freezer if you want to.
That's where you keep it?
Yeah, I hid it from.
I keep mine in the stove.
I hid it from Corey.
Now you listeners, let me know if they talk about me while I'm gone.
No, he left the room.
Kevin's an asshole.
He's an asshole.
Wait,
He's not that great of a catch. Find him on Facebook. You'll see he's.
You guys are mean.
But
and his man blouse is horrible.
What is that European man purse you're wearing? Is that a fanny pack?
That fanny pack is awesome.
This is a great fucking outfit.
Kevin, your fanny pack's on point.
My gentleman's blouse is extraordinary.
But yeah, it's such a common theme, man, and like
it happens to everybody.
It does.
Even the neighbor, who was actually across the street from my dad's shop, where I work on my car. He came over and he was talking to me, asking me questions about the car, and then out of nowhere he's just like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Yeah.
Is he gay?
No.
Oh.
But he's like, I'm like, yeah, we've been together for quite a while, and he's like, oh, I just broke up with my girlfriend, and I really loved her. And he's young. He's like 21, and this was like his first like real girlfriend.
That's the hardest one, man.
It's so hard, this and that, but we just weren't agreeing on stuff, and she's going away to school, this and that. I'm like, it's really hard, man, but you're gonna figure out like I did the right thing. Like, you're at a point, you own a house, you're 21, you want to go out and be able to do like adult stuff. This girl's still underage, she's off at college, you're not going to be able to go out and like have a real relationship where you can go out, get dinner, have a few drinks, like really connect with this person. After work you guys can go and hang out, where her is going to be like, what are you going to do? Go and hang out with her while she does homework? Like, she's going to be super busy. It's never really going to work. And it's a long-distance thing.
College is really hard to continue a relationship.
So I told him, I'm like, listen, it's really hard now. And he was pretty, like, down about it, which I understand.
And you're not thinking logically when you're that emotionally broken up.
At the same time, it's like, don't worry about it. You're going to find somebody else. Life's going to move on. She's going to move on. And everything is going to be great. You know, you're going to find somebody else who you really connect with and you have a lot of fun with doing this, that, and the other thing.
Kevin turned off the light accidentally.
But, yeah, I felt bad for him because I know how that feels. Like, I've been in that spot before where you're just like, damn, this is horrible. I can't believe this crap is happening.
And the thing
it feels like the end of the world, and then you realize...
and nothing anybody says to you, like, will
to try to console, it doesn't do it.
You know Chris Gates, right? When him and his baby's mama broke up, and he was, like, super calling me, like, you know, suicidal in the middle of the night, this and that. I remember talking him out of like this. I mean, I don't know if he'd actually do it. I would hope that he wouldn't. That it was just him thinking these thoughts, and he wouldn't go along with it. But you never know, man. Yeah. I mean, you never know, and I don't want to be the friend who freaking doesn't talk him out of it.
Like, all right, shut up. I need to go to sleep.
Kevin, turn off the light. Thank you. And so so I have a back light to my patio. But the light switch is in the bathroom, so every time people go to the bathroom, they hit the wrong light switch. What an awful place for the fucking light switch for the back patio. I don't know who did that, but yeah, I mean that's so common. Yeah, we were just talking about that. And but it's super common because even when me and that girl broke up, when we started dating, again, I actually was going to tell you to grab something else from my bar too if we wanted something less spicy. But
I actually want to try the spicy.
And But when me and that girl broke up, like what I needed the most was not to find somebody else to replace her or somebody who was like her, or not even my next consistent girlfriend. I just needed to find somebody who was into me, even if it didn't last. I needed someone, because I needed to be convinced that, okay, I can find somebody else, and I can have a connection with somebody else. I can enjoy company with somebody else. I can find somebody who likes me, and it's just that self-esteem boost. You needed that self-esteem boost, and I did. I was lucky enough that after, and I was there, man. I remember this one time. I remember at my parents' house.
The problem is nobody can convince you of that.
Well, that's the thing.
Except yourself. You know,
and I don't even think it's hard for yourself. I think
climb.
You know what I think you need to do? You need to hit, most of the time you have to hit rock bottom, and you have to be so pathetic that, and then you finally snap out of it. Well, that's what happened. I was at the point. I remember one time being on the phone with her.
I was there.
I remember being on the phone with her, and I remember begging her to get back to me. And I'm like begging, and this was more than one time. I was like begging her to get back with me. I'm like, we can work this, because she gave me the whole, I just think you're such a great guy, and things are, I just can't. She was working a lot, and I felt guilty because I told her to take a position at her company she was working for that took up more of her time and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, it's great for your resume, even if you don't like it. I'm like, you always have your resume that you manage this store and this and that. Right. And then that's when things change, when she started managing the store. And I'm like, now I start feeling guilty. And I'm like, fuck, man, if I never told her to take that job, maybe we'd still be together. Going through all this stuff. So and then she's like, oh, I just don't.
And you're like, you know what, honey? I think you were always happier as a cashier.
You were much happier as a bagger.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you try to find reasons or what you could have done different. You start victim blaming. I mean, you're the victim and you're blaming yourself for it. And I guess the victim's probably not the right word.
Janitorial parts.
And so what ends up happening is that I end up, looking for what did I do wrong, and she tells me I didn't do anything wrong. It was just the fact that I deserved better, and she, but she couldn't tell me that things were permanently over. She'd always tell me, I just need a break, I just need time, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. But because she never told me,
she was stringing you along.
Yeah, she's stringing me along. So, and then I ended up seeing pictures of her on, I don't know if it was MySpace at that time or Facebook, whatever it was.
MySpace.
And kissing a assistant manager, and I'm like. And I get all pissed because I have friends telling me about this, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, she's like, oh, it's innocent, it's just a kiss, no. And I'm like, she's like, we're just friends, and I'm like, not really, man. I'm like, never mind. That was the dude that was the dude that you were text messaging a bunch of times.
It's my emotional friend.
It's hard to keep a fucking conversation going, Kevin. Let me finish the sentence, homie. And then
let me interject.
It's fine.
You're just an asshole. Oh, it's like a flashback.
Does this sound like this listener's like, am I listening to episode 4 again?
I'm bringing the comedy. Just gotta let it happen.
Yeah, no, I'll let it. You know what? I don't mind as long as, but you get so pissed when people interrupt you. But anyways.
What were you saying, Rick?
But no, I lost my train of thought.
Oh shit.
She was kissing the manager.
Oh yeah, but so when she took this position, this dude was they were text messaging back and forth a lot, and she's like, it was work related, whatever. And then when we broke up, all of a sudden there's a kiss, this and that, and then she never officially started dating this dude for a while, and then people are like, dude, I think they're dating, this and that, and I'm like, fuck, man. And I took her word for it that nothing was going on, and and then again, this was I remember begging her for her back and all this stuff, and I remember one time in my car I was on the phone with her, and I was begging for her back, and she wanted nothing to do with me whatsoever, and I remember feeling so pathetic when I got off the phone. I'm in tears, and I'm like, dude, I looked at myself and I'm like, what am I fucking doing? Even if she did take me back, do I want to be with somebody that it takes this much effort and I have to beg for them to be back with me? Do I want some
convince them?
Yeah, some sympathy, some sympathy, a love, whatever you want to call it. I mean, yeah, I'm like, what am I doing? And then finally, I moved on, and actually, that's how me and Pedro became so close, because he went through the exact same thing, 1 or 2 months prior. And it was funny because I remember him talking about it, coming to me because he was going through it. And just coincidentally, after he went through his breakup, I went through my breakup. And it was funny because I remember giving him advice, me thinking I'm in a stable relationship, let me give you advice. Right. No. And then all of a sudden I'm going through the same thing as him. And I'm like, what the fuck, And that's how we became close, because we just happened to be at the, same, going through the same stage at the same time. And then we became our friends, because it's he didn't have any friends to go out and drink with. I didn't have any friends to go. So we became our friends to go out and drink with. So me and him became really close and would always go out together. And when you met me, that's when me and him were still hanging out a lot. And
That was Frosted Tips days.
Oh, don't talk about that.
Ooh,
Frosted Tips.
I miss those
Like
frosted tips.
plates.
Those are. Did you? No, you didn't. I didn't have
You
frosted
still
tips.
have
got me.
frosted tips, I think. Whenever.
Oh, that's what attracted you to me. And but it just. I think
I
everybody.
was like, you're like Bruno, except with frosted tips.
but more
And I like
better.
that.
more handsome, more stylish,
You definitely more frosty.
and
Call them Frosted Flakes.
you look like Bruno if Bruno grew up in California and was a douchebag.
Hung out at World's Gym. Or
If
Gold's
Bruno was
Gym,
a surfer
whatever it was.
and a douchebag, and yeah, and then it's one of those things where I had to hit rock bottom. Then the biggest help for my self-esteem was I ended up dating this girl Lana, who
Lana Kane?
she was freaking gorgeous. She was this Ukraine girl who was like, she was doing runway.
Ukraine.
She was doing some modeling and all that. I'm dating a fucking Ukraine runway model. What the fuck,
How were the conversations? They must have been amazing.
Yeah, we talked not much talking, but she had an awesome accent, and
I couldn't understand it. They only communicate through
I
emojis.
can't say anything. She was a simple girl, but she
Your
was
dick's so big.
but she was I'll tell you, man, Eastern European girls are different. Gina till this day still thinks I have a thing for Eastern European girls because I dated so many of them after that.
And
Because you do.
And I do. And well, it is. There's something about like I feel like in Eastern Europe, guys that are so cold, they're very tough and cold and not romantic or whatever. That like when they meet a guy who is super nice and super friendly and super polite, that they almost think you're bullshit. And that's what happened like most of the time.
Bitch, go make me sandwich.
Like here's an example of how fucked up some guys are. Her ex-boyfriend, when I met her ex-boyfriend, she walked in to him sleeping with somebody else on their bed, and he got mad that she walked in and pushed her down the stairs.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's how big of a... And then I'm like, oh, so this is why you think I'm fake, because you think like a guy who doesn't hit you is like good enough. Like, never mind a dude who's like polite and nice to you, So it was I mean, a shock, a culture shock, like, oh shit, this is how some, and I'm not saying that all Italian guys hit their girls and all Russian guys push their girls down the freaking stairs, but I'm just saying that like
95% of them.
Yeah, most of them. And but it's one of those things where like you meet a girl who
That's
comes...
an Asian, well, not all Asian, I don't think, but at least in China, like, men don't really treat their women like
that great. Yeah,
that great. They're just like, you are there to look pretty and shut up, or cook me dinner. It's like they don't like actually have meaningful conversations with
Eastern
their women
Europe,
and shit.
That's the thing about Eastern Europe. Like Eastern Europe, like guys are more romantic. They're more into like the simple things in life. I mean, that's where poetry, is big, and literature. And I mean, obviously you get stuff like that in other parts of the world, but especially in Eastern Europe or Western Europe. And so I definitely think that women are treated a little differently there. And but because of that, I started dating her. And, same thing, we both came out of, like, crappy relationships, and I think we're both each other's, like, what do you call it, or, Rebound, yeah. How do you guys come up with the fucking basketball term, and I'm a basketball player? Rebound, what's that word?
Because you're tired, Ricky.
I am. And,
you haven't slept in days.
And so, we were both each other's rebound, and I almost feel like I was okay with knowing that was probably going to be a rebound relationship, because we both gave each other...
what you needed at that time.
Yeah, at the time.
And it got you through.
Yeah, it did. And my confidence went up. I'm like, I felt better about myself. I'm like, oh shit, And, I definitely think I probably fell for her
not all doom and
more
gloom.
because of because of the fact that at the timing. But, I think...
How long did it last?
It didn't. Well, this is the thing, is when I met her, she was so, like, she came from a Christian family, so, like, her parents didn't swear, and her brother, I became friends with her brother, Vlad, which you guys met, who unfortunately passed away from the heroin.
Oh, yeah, I did meet him.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that's how I met Eric. Eric.
Yeah.
I met Eric because I met Vlad because I was dating.
Cool people.
I met Vlad.
Vlad because you're dating his sister.
And then I met Eric because they were good friends.
Oh.
They were always together. So I met all those guys. And if you look at like old pictures on like online and stuff, like back when I first started going out in my early 20s, like I was always with Pedro and mostly with Vlad and Eric. We used to hang out all the time.
Yep.
And so it helped me get through that. And I think like every relationship, that's what you need. Like when you go through every time you have that first love, that first person you really fall hard for, you're gonna, when that falls apart, you feel like your life's over. And then once you finally rebound and once you go into a couple relationships, like right now, like I feel like nothing could faze me. Like,
isn't it great looking back at it and just going like, wow, first loves are bullshit. And knowing that now, like,
but is it bullshit? I don't know, man. I think that's kind of, it's almost like,
I think the way you react when it's over is bullshit.
It's bullshit, yeah.
Because you're
definitely.
You think the world just like is about to fucking end.
Absolutely.
It's just
But like,
my God, how could I ever?
But your
feel
first
that
love
way?
is always not exactly what you're looking for. At least,
what the fuck are you looking for?
At least,
I don't know.
later,
I don't think you
learning
even know.
from life.
Do we ever know what we're looking for? I'm not sure. I mean, no offense towards Gina. I love my wife and my kids and all that stuff, but I'm like, if I could imagine, if I could live in a virtual reality and I could design my perfect scenario, would it be this? I don't know. I mean, it's
Like with the face mask, like virtual reality.
yeah. I mean, like some Oculus Rift shit. It's one of those things where, like, I think that as you get older, you learn that there is no such thing as like a perfect relationship. It's you find somebody you're more compatible with and you make work. Like
work.
Yeah, I mean everything.
It's always everything's work.
Absolutely,
Life is work. I mean,
yeah. Unless you want to take Sundays off to watch football, and then
Hey, let's fucking patent that. Put that on a T-shirt.
What, life is work?
Yeah.
unless it's Sunday.
Yeah. You know how much money we can make. Oh fuck! We're telling everybody.
Fuck.
Damn.
It's not live, but I'll edit this out.
Edit this out.
That space in this podcast will be a great idea that's going to make us all billionaires, and you'll never know what it is. And next time we'll be doing the exact same thing, but on a yacht.
A yacht.
A yacht.
A yacht. Did I say yacht?
No, I did.
Oh, I was getting
It's
like
funny
I'm
that
second
way.
guessing if I said it. And but
We're giving you a compliment.
Remember that whiskey you could never say the name of?
oh, I still can't.
Which one's
which
this?
one is it?
I don't even know.
Calumet.
Calumet. Very easy. Calumet.
said
You know why I've said
Oh, he
it?
said it now because I said it.
No,
'Cause
Calumet.
He would be like Calumet.
Calumet.
I give up.
Yeah, and I will admit that I have practiced saying it a few times. After
Ricky stands in the mirror with a bottle.
I'm
I
like,
love it when
Calumet.
you mispronunciate.
I do it all
It
the
makes
time.
me
Yeah.
happy.
I do it all the
I'm a
time. And then my
fucking idiot.
girlfriend makes fun of me all the time.
Yeah, well, fuck.
Today I called Kevin's dad retarded.
He did.
Is he?
He was talking to my dad, and he mentioned that he's like, "Oh, are you?" He meant to say, "Are you retired?" And he's like, "Oh, so you're retarded?" And then he said it again, "Retarded."
Your dad looked at me like, "What's wrong?"
My
with you,
dad's
idiot?"
half deaf anyway, so he probably didn't even hear.
You're lucky you didn't have a fucking military flashback in there.
Killed me on the spot.
You damn
sorry, I'm
Vietnamese.
sorry.
Vietnamese.
I knew he was Vietnamese.
Vietnamese.
That was so funny.
I knew I could smell that Agent Orange. The damn Vietnamese.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
I couldn't believe I said it, and then Kevin
It's funny.
I was just gonna let it
Well,
go,
you know
but
what?
then Kevin brought it up, and I'm like,
It's funny.
Yeah, I said
It's too
retarded.
funny to-
Sorry.
And my mom heard it. She's like, "Oh, it's funny."
Your mom's like, I've been calling him that for years.
Yeah, his mom was like, yeah, and retarded.
And retarded.
I was like, okay, yeah, more stuff about
"Oh
the car.
man." Well, he did come out with like no shoes and no shirt, with
was
little
awesome.
shorts on,
had,
because
like-
that's what my dad does.
He had like
And he
ginger.
smokes Marlboro
Is your
Reds.
dad
Yeah.
Al Bundy?
He's kind of like
He
Al
probably
Bundy,
could be.
except he never sold shoes. He worked in the plastics company.
Al Bundy was the man. That was the best show
That's
ever.
my
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
show of all. Okay, that and Cheers are my favorite show of all time.
I was gonna say, you already said you had a show.
Yeah, and it's on record, motherfucker.
Well, I watch that every morning on reruns, man.
What?
Like fucking Married with Children is on reruns
You
every
ever see,
morning.
you ever see that picture that I did of
I watch that one.
Ricardo sitting on his Mickey Mouse chair?
Does he have his hand down his pants?
No, but he was only in a shirt and a diaper, and he was eating ice cream like a slob. And I took a picture, and I'm like, hashtag Al Bundy or something like that. Because he looked like the
That's
baby version of
awesome.
Al
That's
Bundy.
funny.
Just like not giving a fuck, just sitting there making a mess in his
That
underwear.
show is fucking awesome.
But,
Actually, Peggy would be the one eating ice cream. Peggy Bundy. Peggy Bundy was hot if you take that redhead bouffant off of her.
she actually wasn't that
She's
bad
a
looking.
great looking woman.
She's a great looking woman. You know you're old when you're talking like that. She's a great looking.
She's a great looking filly.
Look at that broad. Good looking broad. But what the fuck? Oh, like back to the like what you said, because a lot of people say this, and I'd like to get your guys' opinion on this. But I think that this idea...
You really want my opinion?
No, I'm actually talking to Chris. I hope you shut the fuck up so we can actually have some intellectual conversation over here on this side. And man, I'm
You
kidding.
just hit me with the mean stick.
And
Can you go get more ice, Kevin?
more ice and get lost so
What
we
did
can
they
finish
say
this
about
conversation. But
Can you flick the light on one time, on and off?
Could be.
It's like a rave.
no, but you know what's funny? It's like, so parents, right? Like, it's funny because I remember when my parents were having issues, right? They were like having some issues, and my mom was talking to me, and she was like trying to get my advice, and like, or she didn't even want my advice because like typical like old school Portuguese women, they just want you to shut the fuck up.
Voice?
They want you to shut the fuck up and just listen. They actually don't want you to interact or give your opinion, because if your opinion isn't what they want to hear, they just will start getting mad at you, getting your
I think
opinion.
that might be a mom thing, though.
Yeah, maybe. But, or a woman thing. Feminist, suck a dick.
You're going to lose a lot of listeners. Oh, wait.
What is this woman's suffrage?
But like, hopefully they know when guys are drinking and smoking cigars, things will be said, and none of it we really mean. Not all of it.
Woman's
At least,
place is in the kitchen. Really.
yeah, if any woman's listening to this, they better be in the kitchen. And
You better be baking a pie.
yeah,
Or
make your man
delicious
happy.
muffins or something.
And
I prefer pie, though. He's right.
but what the fuck was I saying? Oh, so I think it was weird. It was like this realization that like, holy fuck, like my mom used to talk about my first relationship, the one that I talked about, like I was just a kid and I didn't know what the fuck what love was and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, bitch, now I'm hearing about your relationship, and your relationship, you guys had the same issues we had.
The tables have turned.
No, but you don't get what you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My point is like,
You don't have it all figured out.
no, you don't. And that's the thing. Once you become adult, you don't.
Nobody
have it all.
does.
Nobody does, and we're all
Ever.
just figuring it out. And the thing is, how do you tell an 18-year-old that, like, what is real? Like when people say, "Oh, it's not real love," what the fuck does that mean? Like, if it feels real, and you're
Well,
emotionally,
everything in the moment is real to you. You know?
yeah, no, absolutely.
Looking back on it, you're like, that was bullshit. But in the moment, it's fucking real. You know.
But maybe it wasn't bullshit. Maybe like whoever it was,
This is
Chris.
a philosophical question.
Like Chris said, or was it you who said the outcome might be bullshit, or the way it ended, or the way you deal with the
way
recovery?
you know,
that sounds like something Dave would say. I'm not that smart.
What?
You said Dave?
I think I said that.
No,
Or
Chris
Chris
said that. Chris said that. And
I thought you were talking about Dave.
But like Chris said, he's right, because it's like the way it ended might be like your ability to handle a breakup because of your lack of experience in it might be bullshit, because you do have to be a little older and go through a couple hiccups before you realize like, oh shit, I can't recover from these things. You know,
It's not the end of the
but in the
world.
moment when the first time you're cuddling with a girl and you and that girl, like it feels like the world could end and you guys are together and you'd be the happiest person on earth. You know, like who is anybody to tell me that wasn't real in that moment? You know, who is anybody to tell me that like what I felt or what she felt maybe didn't last, but fuck, man, like nothing's forever, and that's the thing we have to realize. Like you made the perfect point. In the moment, like just because it didn't last doesn't mean in that moment it felt real and it seemed real and it had all the same symptoms of what you would consider real love. Then what makes it not real? You know, like I think we have to re-examine or reanalyze like what is real and how do just
What's
because
that philosophical quote? Like fucking life only makes sense backwards, like something like that. It's like
think
life
I heard
doesn't
that.
make. I've heard that. Like it's
But
been said.
what does that mean though?
It like life doesn't make sense going forward. It only makes sense going backwards. Like looking back at it, you can
Yeah, you're
pick
right.
it apart and break it down and go like, oh shit, well this turned
That's
into
like
this.
that's like
you know?
another interesting thing. Like this, I remember hearing this quote like a year ago or whenever it was, but it was really interesting. It was like, you don't have memories, you have the memory of the last time you remembered something.
Right, because your memories change. Because your mind isn't fucking that sharp.
And
Nobody's mind is.
well, not just that, and it's just all interpretation. We could all be at the
Your
exact
perception.
Yeah, perception. Like we could all be at the same place and be like, "Yo, didn't fucking
have a different all have a different
they were like,
perception
"Yo,
of
didn't,
something.
Didn't what's his face seem angry the way he did that?" And Chris would be like, "No, man, I didn't read that like that
he
at
was
all."
fine.
Now when he tells that story and he remembers that situation, he's going to tell it differently than I did.
Right.
And the thing is that now what actually happened will be lost forever, because all we're going to know is our interpretation of what happened.
Yeah.
You know, and looking back at it, like, and then not just that. Next time I tell that story, or next time I recall that situation, if I leave something out or I slightly modify it, I'm going to remember that last time I told the story, not the actual situation. So now and this is a perfect argument for why religion has
That's
to be
why
bullshit.
I've, like, sometimes I'll get mad over something, and then I'll be really mad, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking ridiculous, whatever. And then, like, a couple days later, I'll think about it, or, like, I'll go to tell somebody, and all of a sudden, it just doesn't seem as bad. I'm like, man, maybe I just, like, fucking overreact.
Yeah, that happens a
I'm
lot.
like,
You know what I always tell myself?
maybe
Sleep, go to fucking bed. Like, you know how many times
I'm
like
just being stupid.
me and Gina would get in a fight like some night or whatever, or like we were at like the break at a fight. Like I felt like I wanted to say something, but like I'm like, you know what? Let me fucking go to sleep. And if I wake up the next morning and I'm still upset about it, I'm gonna talk about it. But if I'm not, I'm like, and it's amazing how many times you wake up the next morning and I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't bring that up. Because I'm over it. I don't give a fuck.
Because then it's like you can just start digging deeper and bringing things up that don't need to be brought up.
And how much of it is
snowballs into something.
And you know,
worse.
in that moment, so much of what you say is going to be influenced by the anger or frustration or whatever.
And then you will just say things to, like, hurt the other person.
Yeah,
or
and
to
are you
piss
actually...
them off further.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Are we talking about my ex-wife again?
We are that bitch. And
Can't believe she
hope
left
you're
you with
homeless
the dog.
sucking dick for crack.
Oh God.
She very well could be.
If only.
With all those feminists I told to suck a dick.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Just kidding, feminist.
I'm pretty sure she has
We
a
want
kid
you to
with somebody
vote.
who hits her now, which is fine.
What's that?
I'm pretty sure she has a kid with somebody who hits her now.
Oh, dude, isn't that weird how that happens too? Like, Gina has a friend. I don't want to say her name, but she probably doesn't listen to the podcast. Anyways, but my wife doesn't listen to the podcast. I can guarantee her friends don't. And
so her name's...
I'll tell you guys that.
No, I'm just kidding.
But she constantly dates dudes that are abusive. And I remember telling Gina, I'm like, Gina, it is not that she has bad luck. And
she
it's,
chooses them.
No, it's not, and it's not even that she chooses them. It's that she
wrong
doesn't
with that.
avoid them. Because, for example, you get what I'm saying? Like if you if you date somebody and you're like, yo, this bitch is showing me some signs of some fucking craziness,
crazy
I'm
shit.
avoiding this.
Right.
But some other dude will be like, oh, this isn't that bad. Like, oh, I can deal with this, And then next thing you know, she's throwing shit at him or breaking his stuff, and you're and be like, oh fuck, man, I always choose girls like this. I'm like, no, motherfucker, the signs were there, you ignored them, and if it was me, I would have avoided them, and that's why you're always stuck in these situations.
He's definitely talking about my ex-wife.
Why is that what happened?
That's almost to the T.
In regards to her current relationship?
No, with me, like throwing stuff at me and shit.
She was physically abusive?
She was abusive. No, she has thrown a few. She threw a few. Shit at me. She's thrown shit at me.
I'm pretty sure.
She threw a few shits at me. she was
like a monkey.
She was an ape.
Sucking dick, throwing shit at people.
Literally shit. Diarrhea poop everywhere.
Remember
like the sign we saw today? Leslie's poo supply?
What?
Oh, yeah. Dude, he's like fucking beeping stuff. We're trying to pull out a liquor store, and he's fucking looking at me. Like, hey, look at this sign. Look at this sign. I'm like, what? Leslie's? What Leslie? What are you fucking pointing? It's a pool supply. What? Oh, the fucking L's out.
The L was out. So it said
supply.
Leslie's poo supply.
I'm like, oh.
And of course, I thought it was hilarious because I'm an overgrown child.
I was like, oh, Chris.
I hope this microphone doesn't pick up all this glass. I'm gonna try this not
You are incorrigible.
But I think that's you know what's the thing. One thing I wish I talked more about on the podcast, which I'm glad we're talking about now, is like relationship stuff, because I think that there's a lot of I hope that one of the most rewarding things is people listen to my podcast and then writing me emails and telling me that it changed their perspective or it helped them deal with this or whatever. But these relationship things, it's like, even though a lot of times when you talk about political stuff or foreign policies or whatever, you feel like, oh, these are bigger issues. But to somebody who's dealing with that stuff, that's the most important issue to them.
Bigger issue.
Yeah. And how do they focus on these bigger issues if they haven't figured out shit in their own personal life? And I think hearing these type of conversations are as beneficial as listening to a song, as listening to a song when you're a kid that is depressing or talking about a breakup, because it's like, oh shit, somebody else is going through this. These conversations are important because people are like, oh shit, there's people out there. The cool thing about the podcast is you can see where the downloads are, and there's people who listen to this in the Midwest and people who listen to this in fucking third world countries, and you don't know what their situation is. You don't know what their if they have friends that they can talk to about this,
Mm-hmm.
So these conversations, one thing, my last podcast I did with Dave, I had people write me and say, oh, it was a cool podcast, like, you should definitely and I remember joking about it on the last podcast, like,
What were the YouTube comments saying?
I think some of these were YouTube comments.
Oh, really?
Some
I thought those were like the worst ones.
YouTube. Most people who
Keyboard
who
warriors?
realm, keyboard warriors who realm on YouTube are fucking cunts. And no, but you know what? I have to be honest. Like, I actually have gotten a lot of positive stuff, and I can't complain because most of this stuff. I mean, I get tweets like sometimes I'll be like, I was at breakfast this morning and I got a tweet about a fan that's been listening to the show for a long time, and like, he was just writing me about how much they liked the last show with Brian Toohey, the guy who wrote the book on this the fixes. And I'm always
That's
like,
good.
yeah, it's awesome. And I'm always like, Gina, look at this. And she's like, oh, cool. And I'm like, Gina, you don't understand. I'm like, I get people all over the world.
That's nice. Oh,
Yeah,
that's nice.
That's a hard thing to deal with too. Like when you want people to be as excited about stuff as you are, and you're like,
nobody's as excited about stuff as you are.
And now you're saying no, but I'm saying like even like we talked about this, right? Like
you get very excited about.
You wish that like Red was excited about like your car shit, right? As you know, like I think when you have a passion,
well, that's why you have. No.
Well, I mean, yeah. And
But
then
you
at the
don't
other point, I'm like, all right, she's not into it. That's fine, whatever. She doesn't. But at the same token, you're like, damn.
Well, she's a girl. Like a lot of girls
I
aren't
can
into
understand,
that, you know.
Which I can
no,
totally
but in
understand.
reverse,
but
no, but you're right. But in reverse,
rare.
a lot of girls, same thing. Like Gina will be excited about like, oh, we're gonna like, for example, these family pictures we did this morning, right?
Yeah.
She wanted me to be all excited about it. I'm like, Gina, yeah, they're family pictures. But and she was like, it almost seemed like she was like, there's situations where she's excited about something, she wants me to be just like, she's disappointed that I'm not as excited.
On that level.
And I'm just like, bitch. Now you know how I feel. I'm like, I get excited because I booked Jesse Ventura on the show, and you're like, okay, cool. Now what are we gonna have for dinner? You know, it's like,
Right.
no, you don't understand. I'm like,
Really? She didn't even think that was.
I mean, kind of, but it wasn't like a reaction like I would expect. Like if she did something to that cool, or you know, where I saw her, and she knows like how this was just an idea, and nobody knows better than her. Like just all the work and stuff. I mean, she knows times I go to. She'd wake up at fucking 2 a.m. and like, you're still up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to write emails. I need to book some guests. I need somebody to come on the show, you know, and to see how far I came. And like I just want a little bit of excitement, you know, and it's just like, and then you have to come to the conclusion that like you know, you're just not gonna have, your loved ones aren't gonna be as excited as you are about shit, you know, and it just.
Hold on, we gotta wait for this C-130.
Helicopter?
The Malaysian airplane.
That might be a C5. I don't know.
Oh fuck, that's strong.
It's good though, right? It's almost smooth.
Wait, once I
at
get
the
my
end.
taste buds back, and
Let the ice melt. And then
I thought it was getting smoother.
it does when the ice melts.
Well,
Yeah,
when
I'm
the
getting
ice,
a- I'm
when the
getting
ice
like
melts, it's good.
I'm getting like an apple undertone.
Yeah,
in
I'm
that.
getting like an oaky buttery from that one.
No oaky or buttery, an apple.
Kevin says
crisp.
everything is oaky.
Okay, buttery.
They say that I say
Today
everything is oaky
he
and
ate
buttery.
a tortilla chip and he said it was oaky and buttery.
Because I said a rum was oaky and buttery one time, way back.
No.
Because on the label it said oaky and buttery.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, because I'm like, and I remember giving.
I don't ever pick up anything. I'm
I
like,
will
oh,
give-
it's good. I can't even. It doesn't have any undertones.
Sometimes if it's very strong, like if
I
it's
don't know.
really obvious smoky, or if it's really obvious spicy, then I can like be like, okay.
I can only relate to oaky and buttery. So I'm,
Really?
no, I'm kidding. I have no idea.
But if it's like smoky and spicy, like you can pick
It's
those
just
up
fun
pretty
to
easy.
make fun of Kevin.
I can pick up smoky and spicy pretty quickly. It is the other
Laugh
shit.
it
That,
up.
That shit's spicy. I can pick up on that. Yeah. Laugh it up, fuzzball.
Fuzzball.
what's that from?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's from everything
my-
that was dubbed on regular television.
My stupid brain.
But what the fuck were we talking about? Oh, who knows? Who gives a fuck?
Doesn't even matter anymore.
It doesn't.
You'll really be laughing when I unleash my evil plan.
You're like Pinky in the Brain.
I forgot about that. Damn.
Classic.
It is.
That dude on the podcast today was mad cool. AJ from Fire from the Gods. He's like 32, man. He's like, oh, everybody thinks I'm younger. And I didn't want to say it, but I'm like, because you're black.
Black don't crack.
Dude, they don't. Like, all my
No.
buddies, look, all my buddies, like Chase, Motley, those dudes are all in like their fucking late 40s, early 50s.
They don't look like it at all.
Dude, they all look like they're a little
Yeah.
older than us. Like,
Yeah.
they're chilling with us. They don't even look like Dave. I remember, you know, Dave would always be like, "Oh, I look out of place with you guys because I'm so much older." Now, you know, I'm like, not really, man. I'm like,
No.
you look good, but like, my black friends, like all those older black
no,
dudes, that whole group of
really
guys,
good
like,
for the fucking
dude,
age.
they all.
I don't look my age. Nobody thinks I'm my age.
How
Yeah,
old-
no, you don't.
you
I
look
think I have a
young.
little black in me. I don't know.
That's what it is.
Only where it counts.
Except I'm the whitest black man.
But
You're like an albino.
nobody can ever accuse
albino.
you of being racist if they look at your resume of women.
I got a little Michael Jackson.
That is true.
Your resume of women, you have hit every continent.
Well,
You do a lot of traveling? I've been to Asia once, went to Northampton with this Asian chick, and then I've been this, but I'm kind of the same way, man. You can't really, like, I don't know how people can just have one type, because I feel like...
I have many types, but I've settled on one.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I think it's one of those things where, like, beauty is beauty, man. I've seen fucking beautiful girls from every single type of background, culture, whatever you can think of.
Yeah.
And I've never looked at, like, I don't know, when somebody says they have a type, it sounds like even if there's a hot girl who's not their type, they're not attracted to them.
I don't fucking get people
I don't
who are
get
like,
that either. That's
I
my
only
point.
like this type, or there's people who have that feature, or this. I don't get that, because I'm like the spice of life guy. I like variety in everything. Women, fucking booze, food, everything. Cigars, whatever. I want to try everything.
Well, that's why me and you get along
You know?
with like foods and stuff like that, because we're both super adventurous with trying anything.
I
And,
will,
you know,
will fucking eat,
I'll eat
anything.
I'll eat fucking. Honestly, if I was in some fucking third world country and they're like, oh, this is a fucking person.
I have yet to try chitlins. And I will
you don't mind
eat
being
that
a
shit.
cannibal.
I don't even know what chitlins are.
It's intestines.
Would you ever eat
of an
human?
animal.
Would you ever eat human?
In the right surroundings? Like, no. No.
No.
Well, in a survival situation, I guess. If it's down to life or human flesh.
If I was in a third world country
and the person's
I wouldn't
already
even say
dead
third world.
and just sitting there like
No, I'm saying if
that's a butcher store right there.
What if you're in some
Like-
weird ass fucking
like
country where they're like, you know what, we have human hamburgers and and they're like, it's completely normal to eat them here. You don't have
No,
really.
because that's not normal. If you're in
Aren't-
that kind of area,
Bears are all
you're
cannibals.
in danger.
I think bears are all cannibals, right? They all eat,
What are you talking about?
right?
Who?
Grizzly bears. They eat
They eat bears?
cubs, I think, don't they? I'm gonna have to Google
Actually,
it.
there's a lot of animals that will
Eat other.
other cubs or
Yeah.
whatever. Like lions will do that. Lions when they take over a pride,
Where's the lions?
they will eat all the offspring of the prior lion who.
I don't know if I
decided-
believe that, because they didn't do that in The Lion King.
Yeah, it's Simba.
Oh my God, you're so right.
Okay, maybe I wouldn't eat human.
Disney
I don't think
just
about it.
fucking. Disney
But you
just
know what?
fucking schooled me.
If I knew that,
I can't get on board with that, because there's certain shit that I would not eat. I'd be like, I can't do it.
No, what kind of question is that? Would you eat humans? Like,
no, not humans, as in like you kill somebody and eat them. I'm saying like if somebody said that, okay, this
the
was
only way I think that's ever okay is
Survival?
in a survival situation, because you hear about it and people are like,
And
oh,
would you do it?
gross, you fucking ate a person, but it's like, listen, they were already dead, and I was going to die because I was starving to death, and I was around a bunch of other people who are looking at each other going, we're starving to death. They have to. That's okay. You know?
well, that goes with the
in
philosophy.
fact, if I died and if I was in that situation with a bunch of people and I died, I'd want them to fucking eat me so they survive. That's it.
Well, that's like
You know?
the philosophy question, like if you're on, like is murder always a bad thing? Like if you were on a boat and the only way of surviving is that everybody had to pick one, like you had to draw straws, and then basically whoever got the shortest straw, you'd have to eat them, because if not, everybody would die.
Well, but listen,
with the moral thing,
that doesn't make sense though, because eventually somebody's going to die first. You know what I mean?
yeah. But what I'm saying is, what if you don't think you're going to last
No.
without?
Then
Because if
you're
you take someone
you're the food.
Well, that's my point. My point is like, so is murder always wrong morally? So it's the thing is that, okay, would the moral thing
That is
be
a good fucking question.
well? Here's another one, and this is a typical for like people who take philosophy in college. Some people, I'm sure people who are listening to this are like, oh, I've heard this before. But anyways, if you guys haven't heard this, it's kind of interesting because it makes you put in perspective your own moral compass and what you would do. Like here's a good one that I like.
Moral compasses are always easily swayed though. Like, depending on
the situation
what's going
sometimes.
on. No, what's going on in
But
your
so
culture.
listen,
and
let me
your
get your guys' opinion on this. So here's just I'm probably gonna get this exact story or example wrong, but it gets
doesn't matter. You
it
always
gets,
do.
Yeah, you get the but you get the idea. So pretend there was this train, right? That's it's brake and it's going down these rails, and it's going to go straight into a wall, right? And it's going to kill everybody on the train. So pretend there's like 50 people on this train. 50 people are going to die, right? Yeah. Or
are there snakes on this train?
But listen.
No, that's not a plane.
Or you could push this. Oh no, actually I fucked up already. So this it's going to go through this.
Wait a minute, guys. I'm sorry. I'm fucking with you.
Okay, so let me go to another one. There's another one similar, because I've already lost my train of thought where that one goes. There's another one. I've heard Michael. He's a Harvard philosopher, Michael Sandel. He's a professor who has said this in one of his classes. So there's this train going, and then if it's going to hit a wall, and then all these people on the train are going to die. And you're on top of this bridge looking down at this train that's going to come by, right? Okay. And you're right next to this really fat guy, okay? I know it sounds silly, but listen. But if you push this fat guy down,
this is very hypothetical.
Yes, of course. And he lands on the train. The fat guy is going to stop the train, but you kill him. So now, if you don't do anything, okay, more people are going to die, but you're not directly the cause of it. But if you do something, you will save lives, but you're directly the reason why one person died.
Kill that fat piece of shit. But that's me. I'm serious.
So, in a serious note, like, or in all seriousness, you would think that that's what you would do? I think it's a hard question.
I don't think I could.
I think that...
How fat is he? That determines my answer.
Was he on The Biggest Loser?
Is he like one of those guys that you have to like break down a wall to get out of his house? Is it like that fat?
I think the point of the question is...
How many seats on an airplane does he have to buy?
How long will he make me wait in line when I'm at fucking the grocery store? I just want a gallon of milk, and this motherfucker has... I'm kidding. But
is he a heavy mouth breather?
Because that would do it.
It's one of those things where, like, quickly, you will reconsider what is murder, what is right, what is wrong, right, what you would do in a situation like that, And I think that those type of questions are important, because it's like we all like to think that, like, okay, murder or death is always cut and dry. This is bad, that's good. But there's situations where something could happen where it, like, again, that boat thing, where if you need to kill one person to survive, now is that murder? Or would the noble thing to be just everybody dies if if help doesn't come, and you take that risk of everybody dying if help doesn't come? Or you're just like, what, if we eat one of us, then it'll give us another couple days of survival, a week of survival, and we can possibly survive this whole situation.
Well, to save the many for the one, I don't think is a terrible decision.
Save the many to save the one. What do you mean?
To save the many for the one. To kill one to save the one. I'll put it in that way. I'll word it that way. To kill
to sacrifice one to save many.
Sacrifice one to save the many is not a terrible decision. It's a tough decision, but it's not a terrible decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, in other words, you're saying that you wouldn't judge somebody if they had to.
No.
But would the law judge them? Like, in other words,
yes, the law would judge them.
Now, that's my point. My point is, like, now, even when it comes down to, no, actually, that wasn't my point. It just sounded like the right thing to say at that moment. But
but I'm gonna go with it. That's my point.
But the thing is that's it's interesting, because the fact that now is the law morally written in a way that's completely level and playing field for everybody, and it's fair, and
of course not.
Yeah,
it's not.
Oh, of course, yeah, you're right.
So many levels,
and those are perfect examples of it. And I think that a lot of times,
I think sometimes juries take that kind of shit into consideration, though. Like, that's why a lot of people that have committed crimes do get off. It's rare. I mean, you have to be white.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fact. I mean, you're just more likely to be, getting prison time.
Unless you have money and you can afford an amazing fucking counsel like the orange juice.
The orange juice.
It's an interesting internal debate you have, with Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure there is a right or wrong answer. I think that you can mentally justify it either way. I mean, now almost not, and it's the other thing too, is like, okay, so if I don't do anything, I say I'm not directly causing, my direct actions don't cause the death of anybody, but my lack of action causes the death of many.
That's even worse, I think, honestly.
It's it's a, and these
and that happens
these
so much in
questions are
society, just people just fucking watching something terrible happen, just like, I don't want to get involved, like, that type of shit. That's worse.
Well, that goes. I mean, there's a lot of that. Like, I was watching this TED talk, and I think I've talked to you once about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it was about that, the TED talk, and there he was showing this video of how they had this kid pretending he was cold and homeless and freezing, and he was on the ground, and people kept walking by, and nobody would do anything. And then one guy stopped, and this older black guy would stop and be like, "Hey kid, are you okay? Are you cold?" And he gave him his coat, took off his coat, and it was cold. It was in the winter. Took off his coat. The interesting thing is this black guy was homeless.
Oh, well,
And
that's really nice.
and he's the one who helped.
Wow.
And
That's
so
crazy.
they did a similar experiment with.
Because he understands there's somebody who's in the same situation.
Yeah, but Maslow's hierarchies of needs. It's this.
I'm not familiar with this, so.
Just actually, somebody look it up real quick on their phone.
My phone's slow. You
The
look it up.
screen is smashed, but I'll do it.
You look it up on your
It's-
smash screen
it's-
phone.
Maslow's. If you just put it, like, say it in your.
Can you read it through the Scotch tape?
I can.
Or is it Maslow's? Yeah.
I'll
If
find
you get close to enough to
The
it.
Googler will get
The
it.
Googler will get it. But according to that, and it kind of makes sense. It's like your first priority is your own security and safety first. So the fact that guy was actually willing to sacrifice his safety, security, and his well-being before, and instead, or sacrifice that for this other
That's
person.
a fucking commendable thing in humanity.
Well,
I like that.
Oh, I got it.
You have the
Physiological's at the bottom. Safety is next.
safety. That's again, yeah.
Love/belonging is above that. Then esteem, and then self-actualization.
Yeah, so which is where you want to be, because they say you need all those other things first before you get to this. I guess, finding oneself, finding happiness, finding
like understanding your meaning,
fulfillment,
and your. Not, I don't want to use the word destiny because I hate the word.
Well,
destiny.
I think sex,
but
is on it,
understanding
right?
understanding your
Love
your path,
is probably.
your path,
love and
your path,
And so he was arguing the fact that maybe that wasn't correct. So I guess it's this idea of like this Darwinism type of thinking that it's all about survival, and it's our strongest instinct is worrying about ourselves first.
It comes down to that, but
a lot of people
there's so
argue-
many other facets to us,
Well, it's not that. It's that he's arguing that empathy is actually the strongest emotion and strongest feeling that humans have. It's not, this selfishness.
Depends on the
survival.
situation, honestly.
Well, that was an example of a situation where somebody was actually more concerned about somebody else than their own safety and security.
And that's awesome.
And they did a similar thing with this. Listen to this. So they had this video, right, of this homeless guy, right? They gave this homeless guy a pizza, right? Mm-hmm. This kid bought him a whole pizza and said, "Hey, you look hungry.
That's fucking awesome.
Here's a pizza," right? Mm-hmm. And then this other kid went around asking people near this pizzeria who were eating, "Oh, can I have a slice of pizza?" And they're like, "No." "Can I have a slice? No." "Can I have a slice?" "No." And then they went to the homeless guy. "Can I have a slice of pizza?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "There's still plenty left." Sits next to the homeless guy. And the guy who didn't have shit was the one who was willing to share.
Yeah.
This idea, and it's crazy because it makes you rethink humanity as a whole. Like, what is our strongest emotions? What is our strongest
Well, I actually
instincts?
seen that happen before.
Where? What? Do share.
Right at Little Caesars is near my house.
Oh, every good story starts with Little Caesars.
There was
Little Caesars.
there was like a group of kids. They didn't look that old. I don't know, maybe mid-20s. Mm-hmm. It was a girl, and then like two guys, and they looked like they were just like drifters. They had backpacks, and they looked like they hadn't showered in like weeks, and they had a couple dogs with them, and they were just like hanging out on the side of the road.
Damn.
And so I drove by, I forget to go where, and then they were just sitting there. All of a sudden, on my way back, I saw that this FedEx delivery guy with like a FedEx just home delivery truck. He goes to Little Caesars.
I work for FedEx.
He buys like, I think he bought like 2 pizzas and like 4 or 5 like water bottles, and he brings it over to them.
That's fucking cool.
And he's like, oh, you know, I don't know what he said because I was just driving by, but he like gives it to them. They're like, oh, thank you. You could tell they were like being super appreciative. And these people, they looked like they had nothing. They looked like drifters. I don't know
awesome.
Where the hell they came from or what was going on with them. But he just bought the stuff and like dropped it off, hopped in his trunk and took off again.
That's fucking cool.
Well,
man.
I know that Christmas has become just basically a great scheme to get people to buy a bunch of stupid shit. But one thing that it does remind us, it gives us a reason, or it gives us a time of year where it actually, I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but it reminds us how enjoyable it is to do stuff for others. You know, like that one time of year where it's like, you realize, holy shit, like I actually enjoy seeing the happiness on somebody's face and giving them something much more than I enjoy receiving it, you know?
Right.
And, I mean, obviously that completely goes out the window when you're talking about oral sex. But
I enjoy doing that, actually.
Listen, you foot fetish bastard. Your fucking opinions go out the window once you get into feet. But,
No. You guys are weird for not liking feet.
Feet are disgusting.
Well, disgusting feet are disgusting.
No, feet are disgusting.
Beautiful feet.
I would have no problem with women who had no feet. I'm okay with it. They're not necessary. They're not.
You could have robot feet.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Actually, I would prefer
but
robot feet.
You know
they
what?
don't smell.
Right.
Amputee thing is a different type
You
of
do more work in the kitchen because you don't have fatigue.
You don't have finger toes.
Finger toes?
Yeah.
Finger toes?
Toes that look like fingers. It's disgusting.
How dare you? Jesus had finger toes.
But he wore nice sandals. It was okay.
And he had long wavy hair. I wonder what conditioner he used.
I think it was Pantene Pert V.
I think it was Pert. Because
Pert Plus.
Because he didn't want to spend too much.
No. He used
is that a global to the Jews, you dirty bastard?
Jesus was a Jew.
That's my point. You're saying he's cheap.
He's using.
You said you didn't want to spend too much.
I used to use Pert, and I'm not a Jew. All right.
You have,
but it made my scalp.
Very much.
It made my scalp dry.
Do you have a lighter?
Besides having great business skills, you have all the other Jewish tendencies.
How dare you?
A big nose.
It's not that big.
But
Give me a lighter.
Yeah, use that one. It works really good.
But yeah, it's
Except not so much.
Yeah, that one's
about oh, God, I hate you.
We don't give the Jews good lighters.
I don't think the audience heard you there.
Let's see how long we've been talking.
It's not recording.
Hour and 27 minutes. Not bad.
We're not done.
How many likes do we have?
Joe Rogan is
Liked
actually
it?
live. No, it's not even on.
Joe Rogan's listening to us?
No, it's not live. I'm going to post it after.
I think this is going well.
This is going swimmingly.
Well, you know what it is? I think it's I like casual conversations sometimes. Sometimes
it's the best type of fucking shit to listen to.
Well,
honestly.
you know what I like about casual conversations?
You know what I like about not
to cut you off for the 8th millionth time.
But that's what I do. So I'm just gonna do it. And look at that spike. That's me. Anyways,
but you know what's funny? If I interrupt Kevin, I've had Kevin so many times like, can I finish my thought? Can I? And I'm like, you dirty mother. You know how many thoughts are lost in the universe because I didn't get to fucking finish them?
I'll lose mine completely if I.
Then that's always his justification. He's like, dude, I'll forget. And I'm like, you're right, because the rest of us remember the shit that we were going to say.
You need a notepad.
I should start taking notes. It'd be great.
I do that during my podcast. I always have a notepad next to me because I let the person I'm talking to talk, and if it's something I'm like, oh, I want to bring this up again, I'll write it down. Even if it's just like a word or two.
Kevin, it's a good idea to let people finish their thought.
I didn't cut him off.
You should bring a notepad everywhere.
I agreed with him.
Yeah, why don't we get a notepad when we go to another bar tonight? You want to go bring a notepad so when you're talking to a chick, you can actually let her finish the sentence.
I'll never let her finish her sentence because I don't care what she's saying. You know?
She belongs in the kitchen.
So
I have this really nice kitchen.
How many square feet do you want in your kitchen?
Because I will get you the greatest kitchen.
And do you have finger toes?
Let me see your feet.
If your feet are busted, that is a deal breaker.
I hate feet. Ugh, you're so fucking gross.
You are gross
So
for not liking
stupid looking.
Stupid feet. All you do is help us walk.
You're so weird to me.
Useless.
I don't fucking understand
I
that.
want nothing to do with a foot.
You're so strange. I don't
I just want to put a
understand your-
sock on my
No,
foot.
if you had a girl who
process.
had 3 feet.
That'd be awesome.
no,
really?
that's weird.
the
No,
more
that's
the-
weird. Because then she'd have 3 legs. That's fucking
That's what I'm
weird.
saying. 3 legs, 3 feet.
Or at least, no, that's fucking
She's an
weird.
alien.
That's no.
Kind of like
I'm
that Total Recall 3 titties girl.
That was weird.
It was weird. It wasn't a turn on. I
No.
have to say, I'm like, that third titty. I'm like, that's too much. Too much of a good thing's
No,
a
I
bad
don't
thing.
need a 3.
How do you
I don't need a
motorboat
13.
3 tits?
I don't know, man.
You don't. You just suck in the middle one.
And hold on to the other one.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
What a conundrum.
Where do you guys want to go next?
Crazy.
Crazy town.
I don't get to go out often anymore these days. All
I
right,
care. Wherever you want.
we can go to you know what? Let's wrap this up. So we've been talking for an hour and a half. I'm gonna try to put all this shit together. It looks like it hurt all of us. Hopefully you
That's
guys
good.
enjoy this conversation, and hopefully I have it up soon. So thanks guys for listening. Thanks Kevin and Chris for doing this shit.
Thanks for interrupting, Kevin.
Anytime I can interrupt you.
Literally, he means
I'll be there.
anytime.
if it records well and I can actually post it online and it sounds good, then we'll do more of these because I actually like these. I mean, I'll admit, last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, when I was telling you that I was out here with Gina's brother and Robbie swung by after work, the same thing. We got in like some pretty good conversation. And I was thinking, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to interrupt this conversation. Be like, hey guys, you mind if I record this podcast? Because now I feel like a douchebag.
Have you ever used this app before?
I've used it just to see if it works when I downloaded it.
Oh, okay.
And it seemed to work pretty well. I mean, you can see like the levels, and there's a bunch of settings in it, but I haven't fucked.
I'm just
with
wondering
it.
how the sound quality is.
I can play it back, and
Let's listen for an hour and a half to our
let's listen to ourselves while we smoke cigars.
And then we'll go to the bar.
man.
Well, our thoughts are sparking thoughts in us
Yes.
after we re-listen to it because we forgot what we said.
I just hope you know I mean well.
And he loves feet.
And that's
But I would love to do more of these because I think it's fun. And the other thing too is like a lot of people listen to podcasts or doing shit around. Like I remember talking to my brother-in-law, and he was talking about how certain podcasts I can't listen to because they're too informative, and then he's like, I can't pay attention because I'm at work, so I'm kind of in and out.
Yeah.
So these type of conversations are perfect because it's like you don't have to pay attention to every single word because it's not
you don't
it's
have
not
to
we're
pay
dropping
attention to
knowledge.
us.
You know,
it's like
we're
we're
not,
stupid.
Yeah, we're stupid. We're not dropping knowledge where it's like, oh, you know, you should. If I missed that statistic, then I'm lost in the conversation. You know, so. But thanks again, guys. That was Chris. That kid who interrupted less was Chris. The kid who interrupted much more was the kid we know and love, known as Kevin.
Thank you.
And thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.